Hey and welcome to the MX-5 guide on Charlotte Roval in iRacing. This track is technically difficult and one of the more challenging ones in the rookie series. You will need to practice and race a lot here if you want to achieve good results in higher splits. At the same time, I would advise you to approach your races calmly without taking too many risks, because based on my experience, there are always many contacts and crashes around here which can give you a few free positions. You can find all additional lap files on the community Discord, the link is in the description down below. Use the 100 meter board on the right as marker and tap the brakes for a quick downshift into second gear. You only want to adjust your speed here, so don't be too aggressive on the brakes. It's difficult to pull off, but if you want to nail this turn perfectly, you don't want to have any downtime between braking and accelerating. You want to hit the brakes, downshift and be immediately back on the throttle. Aim for the red curb and avoid the raised blue one. Hitting it will unsettle your car. Stay on the throttle, let the car swing to the outside and turn in once you pass the signal light on the right side. There's no need to brake here. If you miss the entry or don't feel confident, you can lift a bit, but a wide entry should usually be enough to take this turn flat out. Position the car on the left edge of the track and start turning in towards the curb once you reach the pathway on the left side. Lift before you reach the bridge and aim for the first apex. We have a long turn ahead of us, that's why we want to stretch our deceleration deep into the turn. I will keep a light touch on the brakes to control my momentum and decelerate slowly and steadily. Now comes a little trick. I want to shift down into second to transition onto the engine brake, which helps me to maintain my speed and also sets me up for a good exit. Normally, the gearbox wouldn't allow you to shift down here because the engine revs are not matching the speed of the car. If the gearbox would process the downshift right at this point, it would break. So, to make the downshift possible, we have to match the revs of the engine to the speed of the car, which we can achieve by blipping the throttle. By stepping onto the throttle for a split second, you will be able to shift down early, which gives you more control over the car throughout the whole turn. I stay on the throttle to control my speed and wait until the car is pointing towards the exit. Once you know you will hit a clean exit, you want to go flat out again and carry your speed onto the next straight. The curb is a bit misleading. You can drive beyond it and use the runoff area on your exit. Stay on the throttle through the short right-hander and use the tire marks on the track as marker for braking. You want to hit the brakes while you let the car swing to the outside of the track. Shift into second gear, and you might have to be a bit careful here. The car can get a bit loose if you overshoot the entry. Attack the apex, aim for a tight run around the wall, and as always, try to be as early on the throttle as possible. It's important that you keep pushing the car to the right side after this turn to get a nice entry into the upcoming left-hander. Attack the curb and stay in second gear. The next turn is extremely important because you want to get a good run onto the oval. A bad entry will cost you a lot of time, so make sure you become confident with this turn. Let the car swing to the right edge of the track and lift when you reach the signal light on the right side. You want to be patient and wait until the car turns in. Step on the throttle once you are certain you will hit the exit. And as you can see, I wasn't patient enough in this run and had to make a small correction. However, you don't want to force anything around here, because a mistake means that you will end up in one of the walls. A small correction like this costs you between 1 and 2 tenths. Wait a second. What I showed you now was the ideal approach for this turn. A quick lift before you are aggressive on the throttle again. And you want to be early on the throttle because anytime you lose right here in this turn will add up on a straight and cost you up to a half second once you reach the next chicane. As you could see, this aggressive approach can be quite difficult to pull off, especially when you are new to iRacing, not confident with the car, face difficult conditions, or simply nervous in your race. That's why I want to show you an alternative approach. Instead of lifting longer, you can get back on the throttle almost immediately and keep it pressed to roughly 50%. It makes it easier for you to hit the correct acceleration point and get a clean run onto the oval. Of course, this will come at a small cost, because it will slightly delay your acceleration point. But if you are driving in a pack, you will easily get this time back in a draft of your opponents, and when you are driving in a lower split, it might be worth it to take the safe approach instead of a difficult one, which is really hard to pull off. Use the 200 meter board as marker and hit the brakes. You should also have an eye on your mirrors, because people really like to attempt attacks around here. Shift down quickly to decelerate faster. Avoid the raised blue curb and shift down into first gear on the short straight between the two turns of the chicane. It gives you slightly more grip and a better exit back onto the straight. Avoid the raised blue curb like before and be aggressive on the throttle. I know it's tempting to go hard on both curbs of the chicane, but a clean line gives you more grip, which allows you to accelerate quicker. We are heading into the last chicane, which invites you to overshoot the entry. Try to avoid that mistake by using the cones on the right side as marker for braking. Stick to the left edge of the track to get a nice wide entry. Avoid the blue curbs one last time, and if you hit a good entry, you will be able to be back on the throttle before you reach the first curb. Accelerate back towards the line, and out of all blue curbs, this is the one you should mind the most. Being too aggressive on it can make you spin or send you into the wall. That was the guide lap. The cockpit lap is coming up next. Thanks for your support, I wish you all the best in your next races, and see you next time.